What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to Minecraft Tekkit for 1.6.4. We've had a pretty awesome and much-needed update to Tekkit. We're now running Tekkit version 1.2.9. You'll have to manually select this from the Technic launcher, as it is still the beta build. However, it is added in, as I mentioned, much needed fluid management into the ME network. So we're going to get that started today. Play around with some fluid management, and then possibly head off to the moon to start gathering up some meteoric iron, as we're going to need a bunch of that. But first, let's take a look at our neat additions in Minecraft Tekkit 1.2.9. Extra Cells is a mod specifically designed as an add-on for Applied Energistics, and it has some really cool additions to the ME networks. The most important would be fluid management. So we're going to make a few items today and get our fluid management system going. A couple of things to note: you will need a different storage chip for your ME drives, and what you're going to be looking for is the ME 64K or whatever size fluid storage instead of just the regular storage. Once we get the fluid storage in there, it allows our fluids to be stored on disk and readily managed by the ME network. It's quite the process, just like making the other ME drives. It's quite the process to make the fluid storage as well. You've got to ramp them up from the small size as you would anything else. You start off with some quartz glass, flux dust, 3 ME Certus tanks, which are added in Extra Cells. The most important, the fluid storage cluster, and this is the piece that really needs to be ramped up. As you see, to make a fluid storage cluster, you're going to need some fluid storage blocks. To make the fluid storage blocks, you're going to need some fluid storage segments. And to make the segments, you're going to need fluid storage cells. And to make the cells, you just bust out your quartz cutting knife and head to it with the flux crystals, the flux dust, and of course the ME Advanced Processor, which at this point I'm sure you probably have several in storage. So that's going to get you your ME 64K fluid storage, is what I'm going to be using. Now, one other really necessary block is the ME Fluid Terminal. The ME Fluid Terminal is going to be pretty easy to make. 6 iron ingots, an ME covered cable, an access terminal, and then the ME Certus tank, which comes in Extra Cells. The ME Certus tank, of course, is just 7 quartz glass with an ME cable. Now, the quartz glass is going to be made a little differently than your regular glass. You're going to use 4 glass and then 5 either Certus or nether quartz dust will get you 4 bits of the quartz glass. So let's go ahead and get these bad boys popped down and start working on some ME fluid storage. Now I've already got a couple fluid storage disks made, so we're good to go. We've got our fluid terminal, which, as you see right now, we've got no fluid in the network. Now we can put water, lava, oil, fuel, anything we need, any fluid that we have out there that we're currently managing in tanks can just go directly into the ME network. So today we're going to start off with just adding in water. And if we see we're using water here with our cyanite reprocessor, we're going to have lots of different situations where we need to pump water into something, and we can now use the ME network to do that. So to start off, let's go ahead and get rid of this fluid duct. Although the fluid duct has been wonderful at getting the job done, it is no longer required. Whoops. Alright, so our fluid duct is all gone. Now we're going to want to start pumping water out of our aqueous accumulator directly into the ME network. Now we don't use the traditional import buses as we have in the past. We're going to have to make sure we use the Extra Cells ME Fluid Import Bus. That's going to be made pretty simply with some iron ingots, a bucket, a standard precision import bus, and an ME covered cable is going to get your ME fluid import bus. So since we're going to be importing the fluid into the ME network, we want to start off with a fluid bus right there. Then we're going to have to just go ahead and get it connected up. Unnecessary bit of wiring right there. And let's see, where do we want to tie it in? I think for right now we're just going to tie it in right here. And there we go. Now we should have some water being pumped in. I'm going to go ahead and switch this so it is at its maximum capacity for fluid movement. And let's head on back over here to our ME fluid terminal, and as you see, we've got water flowing in. So now we need to redirect some of this water back to that cyanite reprocessor, as that was the purpose of that aqueous accumulator right there. Now, of course, the cyanite reprocessor isn't running all of the time. It's just running as the yellorium gets burnt up in the big reactors, and the cyanite gets sent over here for reprocessing. So we will have plenty of opportunities for the ME network to fill up with water, and we don't have to worry about its water usage. Now, to take water out, we're going to be using the fluid export bus. Since we're exporting water out of the ME network, this is going to be made in a similar fashion. We've got 6 iron ingots, ME covered cable, an ME precision export bus, and an empty bucket. So we're going to go ahead and set that right at the bottom there. Let's go ahead and get it tied into the network. There we go, and then we need to set it. I'm actually going to have to get a water bucket, I believe. Yeah, let me get a water bucket. How you choose the input of that, since obviously you can't just choose the water source block. Let's see, do we have... Oh yeah, I've got a bucket of water. Awesome. So what we're going to do is head on back over. And we're going to set our ME fluid export bus so that it's picking up water. And then if we look at the cyanite reprocessor, it is now full. And we're good to go to reprocess that cyanite, and we're doing it by pulling the water directly in and then out of the ME network. Now, as you see, I've done a little bit of remodeling down here. I decided I just didn't have anywhere near enough space, so I moved some of our machines from over here. I moved our oxygen collection from down below up top, and just expanded out this platform a little bit to create just some additional more machine space, as we're going to need more and more as we continue along with this build. So let's go ahead and head on up to the moon and start gathering some meteoric iron. Use our handy little nether hub here, and ba-bam, we are on the moon. Now, I did start... the waypoints aren't working on the moon for some reason. Let's see. Oh yeah, completely gone. Alright, so I can't... Ooh, you know what? I didn't fill my tanks either. Let me go ahead and head on back down. I'll get my tanks filled up and get back up here to the moon to start gathering up that meteoric iron. Alright, so we're back at the moon. Got our oxygen tanks filled and grabbed some spares. Now, important thing to note, it appears that waypoints are not saving on the moon. So I want to put another waypoint here just to kind of tell myself where the base is. So let's just call this base. How creative. Alright, now we got a nice little waypoint there. Don't have to worry about getting lost. And we can head on off and start finding some of that meteoric iron. Now, you will find some meteoric iron on the ground laying around. In fact, I think that's one right there. Yeah, it is. So there's a fallen meteor. You see it busted out a little bit of area. And there is some meteoric iron floating around. We don't want that guy to get away. And there is raw meteoric iron. Of course, we'll have to process that later on. But the bulk of our meteoric iron is actually going to be found in dungeons. It seems like I've had the best luck. Although I have ran around and collected it off the ground, the best luck I've had is in dungeons. Go into the moon dungeons, which they're all over the place, and kill all the baddies. That is also where you're going to find your schematics to build some cool new toys. Now I already did a little bit of farming up here. I found the schematic for the moon buggy, which was nice, but of course we're going to need some improved rocket schematics and so on to really continue our adventures in outer space. Now, on another note, one of the easiest ways to move around once you get on the moon is, of course, you can just fly about like I'm doing now, bobbing and weaving. However, if you enable your flight control on your power suit, you move very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and do that. See, our flight control is on. You see we're no longer dropping. And now we can just move. The thing to look for when out looking around for your dungeons is just follow your mini-map. You're going to see a circle and a big hole. And any of the black holes, like you see that one there, is a little bit misleading, as it is not actually a black hole. It is just those areas broken out. Anything with a definitive hole, in most cases, in the middle of one of those circles, going straight down is going to be your dungeon. So let me fly around a bit here. I won't bore you all with my landscaping. And see if we can't find a dungeon to go check out. Alright, and here we have a little village, actually not too far from base, and we see we've got the telltale signs of a dungeon directly below. As you see on the mini-map, they're usually a little bit more defined than that, but we've got the circle and the hole in the middle, and that's going to be the sign of the dungeon. Let me go ahead and set another waypoint marker right here. See, we're going to call this one Village Dungeon since it's right by the village. And let's get on in there and check things out. Now, as you see, I brought along my diamond sword. The reason being is all these dungeons are completely full of cobwebs, so you're going to have to do some scrapping down in here. There is no doubt. But you'll be able to tear everything up pretty quickly. There will be lots of spawners. Unless you want, if you find a dungeon that's real close to your base, and will make for an easy XP farm. I've just been killing all the spawners. And you see we got baddies up ahead. Most of these dungeons have a good little run. There's going to be quite a few different rooms to go through. One thing very helpful is on your power suit, your little light source, which obviously with no oxygen here, torches do not work, so you can't just slap a torch on the wall. Ooh, spider evading. But they will be full of mobs, there's no doubt. So just go through, chew everything up, wreck all the faces in, and eventually, ideally you get a couple of chests. I've seen lots of these dungeons where there's a chest just right here, right at the beginning, but there's going to be quite a few baddies to kill. Let's get a little more light going here. Now, if you also notice, before I forget, my oxygen meter is moved over to the left. For some reason, with just the factory installed Tekkit, your oxygen meter is going to be on the right above your mini-map, and it's kind of irritating. So, however, if you go into the your config file for BDCraft, you're going to find an adjustment to move your oxygen sensors off of your mini-map and over to the right, or over to the left, pardon me. There's several options. You can move it to the left, you can move it down to the bottom. I don't know what's in there, but that's not part of the dungeon, so I'm not going to go in there right at the moment. We're just going to head on to the end of this thing. I'm surprised I haven't run into any more baddies. There should be quite a few mobs running around. There we go. There's one. Old Skelly shooting his stuff. That didn't work out too well for you, did it there, Mr. Skelly? Some more spawners. Let's get all these spawners busted up. Like I said, it is an awesome form of XP if you need an XP farm. At this point, you're pretty much going to wreck absolutely anything you run across in your power suit. And we're at the end of the dungeon already. The telltale signs of that are the lava flowing and the iron bars wrapping around it. Now, if you haven't been down to the Nether or are not farming glowstone, you will also find some glowstone in here usually. I'm not seeing anything, but there is our evolved skeleton boss. If you leave the room, he will despawn, so don't leave the room. You want to stay in there, and you're going to tear him up pretty darn easily, so no big deal. The evolved skeleton boss is then going to drop a key, and you're going to need the key to open the chest and get your schematics. Now you want to make sure not to kill him too close to the lava, as the keys can pop into the lava and be destroyed. Lots and lots and lots of XP, and there, as you see, there is our key that we're looking for. So let's see, that was what, like, I think that was 6 or 7 levels right there. I can't remember what I was at, but then we're going to head on down to the end, and there should be a chest, and there it is. There's probably going to be some more meanies in here. There's some of that glowstone I was speaking of. You can grab your glowstone. Now, if you just come up and try to open the chest, it's not going to work. It says I'll probably need a tier 1 dungeon key to unlock this, which we just got. So you just have to find your key in your inventory. They're always really small. You need to equip it, and then use the key on the chest. Then it's going to pop right open. Let's see what we got. We didn't get any meteoric iron. However, we did get some other cool stuff. We got some music, a little floppy disk computer craft, and another moon buggy schematic. Then we also got some mistcraft pages. So you definitely get some cool stuff in these dungeons. I'm going to go ahead and gather up really everything of use here. You can always use more string and head on off to the next dungeon. But you're going to have to do quite a bit of dungeon grinding on the moon to get enough meteoric iron where you can continue on and make some of the cool stuff that comes in the GalactiCraft mod. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I'll probably do some live streaming maybe here at the beginning of next week with just doing a little dungeon grinding, as there will be quite a bit required to get where I need to be. I'm going to need lots and lots of meteoric iron. But thanks again for watching. Click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And there will be more Minecraft Tekkit coming soon. As I mentioned before, you need to manually switch to Tekkit version 1.2.9 on the Technic launcher and get that fluid management going in your ME network. Thanks again for watching. See you guys soon.